Hey, my YouTube family. I am going to give you a different type of video on today. So I was asking the question about being submissive. And I really do believe in today's society, they have a lot of different versions of what people think it means to submit versus a man to a woman to a man to God, a woman to God, or even submitting to people. So I have a special guest who's going to remain nameless on the line, and I'm going to ask because sometimes we get one version of someone else's opinion of what they think submission is. But I believe it's a lot of women that are giving their versions of what they think men should do. And it's not a lot of men that's speaking up and saying how they really feel about what they want, how they feel, what they think, and what they expect, because their opinions and their thoughts and their feelings matter as well. And a lot of times we don't give men a lot of credit, or we don't give them what they deserve, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm not saying every woman doesn't give a man what he deserves, but the majority, it's like men take a lot. They get the downfall. They get the backlash. They get the, dad be dad, this, that, and the other. Them dudes ain't this, them dudes ain't that. And that's not always the case. So I thought it would be good to get a man's perspective on submission in the home, in the family, with God, with the woman, what it looks like from their version. So I'm going to ask this special person some questions and let him give you his answer or his version of what he believes it is. Because it's always good to have more than one opinion. It's always good to have someone else's perspective on life and what it looks like, and not just our one way of thinking. So, hello, are you there?
Yes.
So, I'm going to ask you a question. What does submission look like when a man is being submissive to a woman in the home?
Well, my opinion is a man should never be submissive to a woman in the home if he's called to be a leader, which I know there are women that are leading men, and if that dynamic works for them, then that's fine. Doesn't work for me, but a man being submissive to a woman is pretty much following her lead and supporting her goals or purpose or whatever in life, and that's my version of a man following a woman.
So why do you think it's not good that a man should follow a woman in the home?
Well, if we go with the biblical part of it, God created man, created woman from man, so that made man the leader of the woman. So in my mind, the woman shouldn't be in the lead, but if that's somebody else's dynamic, then I have nothing to do with that. But that's not the way I want to be in a relationship, as being, led by a woman.
So do you think women are possible or are capable of leading, in their home?
Yes, I believe they are.
So do you think that's like more towards women should lead the children and the man should lead the woman?
And that's the way the word is set up, where it's God first, man, woman, then children, and not the other way around. So where it's God, woman, man, children, or what have you. So that's just my opinion.
So what does it look like when a woman submits to a man or her husband?
Just a reverse role of what I said about the man following a woman. Is the woman is supposed to sit here and support. The whole purpose of having a woman is to, that he who find a wife find it a good thing. So she's supposed to be a helpmeet, which ensued following his lead, his purpose, and his goals. To put aside all those things that seem to be the most important to her, to create something bigger through his vision, as if he's following God. If he's not following God, then he's not really considered a leader in his household. So, but there's people out there that are worldly still are leaders because they don't believe in God. So, it still pertains the same whether they believe in God or not. As to lead in the home is for the woman to follow his lead and not him follow her lead.
So do you think in today's society with a lot of boss chicks and women doing their own thing, and it's a lot of that going on with women not really wanting to submit to men because they're feeling like they don't have to. Do you feel like that has a lot to do with why the homes are falling apart? Because, most women are not willing to be submissive because they
I
feel like
do.
they could do it by themselves.
I do believe that is part of it, but when we all graduate from high school or whatever, we all are pretty much individuals. So, I mean, if you're a single woman or a single man, you're supposed to have your own stuff. I mean, so that's pretty much the basics, right? But
Right.
in my opinion, if a woman is, wanting to be a boss chick or boss babe or what have you, I mean, if she find a man that's willing to follow that role, that's fine. But she's not going to go looking for a man that's going to be more dominant than her, because she's going to feel insufficient or, feel intimidated. But I just hear a lot of women now talking about men are intimidated by women, which that's not the truth, because they go out there seeking a man that's less than what they are, so they get to be able to dominate and control the dynamics of the relationships. So, but yeah, modern women type thing, they've been trained to go get educated and do better than men or compete with men when they can't compete with men, because men created this world. They built this world for a woman to exist in it. So even the schools that they call themselves go and get education from, men built those. But this is what they've been trained to do, to not need a man. But the whole purpose of that is, if a man don't feel needed, what is his purpose in a woman's life?
I heard you mention that a modern woman. What is the difference between a modern woman and a traditional woman?
Well, a traditional woman is willing to sacrifice the dreams and her aspirations as far as what she's seeking out. She can go out there and possibly work or make a living or whatever, but she's not trying to be the head breadwinner of the household or run the household. And if they have children, she's going to make sure she's more involved in their life than, trying to run a household, financially, and, being there and trying to go work a job, a full-time job as well. Because most cases, raising children is a full-time job. So
Right.
and that's a traditional part for most of these women. They want to try to out-earn a man and compete with man and all that stuff. And like I say, they really want to play the male role, and they want the man to play their role in life. And that's to sit back and enjoy the ride, but they're not building anything.
So a traditional woman is more like a homemaker.
Yes,
Okay.
a helpmeet.
A helpmeet. Okay.
Yeah.
And a modern woman is more like one who's independent.
They want you to help them meet a certain criteria or goal in life.
Okay. So what do you think some of the things that women can do if they really want to be in a relationship with a strong leader, a protector, a provider? What are some of the things that they can do to actually prepare themselves to do that? Because I know it starts with preparation in order to be able to keep families together. And I mean, I know it starts with the man, like you said, following God, following his leadership, and then the woman follows the man leadership. So I've had a few friends lately that have been telling me about how they wanted to be married and they wanted to be in relationships. And I was telling them, you have to prepare yourself for whatever it is that you're praying for, because it's not just going to happen just like that. And even if it does, and you get what it is you're praying for, and you're not prepared for it, then you could potentially run this person away. So what are some things that you think from a man's point of view that a woman could do to prepare herself to be in marriage with someone else?
Well, it's kind of hard nowadays because most women are married to God.
Yeah, Jesus is their man.
Exactly. So, if they're not going to divorce him or, ask him to prepare them to be a helpmeet or a wife, then they're going to be married to Jesus forever. And the whole purpose is going to fall apart because of the fact that they're out of order when it comes to the way God designed everything. Like I say, not everybody believes in God, and if that's the way you want to roll, then so be it. But for the ones that's looking to find that man, to fulfill that need, then they have to put things into perspective. And right now, trying to be the man of the household, you're never going to find a man to fit that role because you're not willing to give up that status quo. They like the power. They like to be able to lead. And men are natural leaders.
Right, they are. It's something that you're built. It's something I believe that's built in you at a young age to teach you how to be tough.
It's in his DNA.
Right. So do you believe that if a man has a good, strong, solid foundation of seeing male leaders in his life, that it gives him more of an opportunity to be the best leader for his home when he grows up?
Right, it's give him courage to take chances, to be able to fail and get back up again. Okay. But when he don't see that in his life, it's hard for him because he's going to make a lot of mistakes before he gets to that place. When having leaders that's teaching him how to fail in a controlled environment, it eliminates him from making a lot of those mistakes when you get out there in the world to become a leader. But at the same time, for me, myself personally, I had a dad in the home since I was 2 years old, but my mama led. So it's kind of hard for me to respect my dad when my mother is leading the home, so. And they were old school. My mama and dad is in their 70s. So that kind of takes the myth out of, traditional and modern day, it's just, it's not heard of in the era that I grew up in. So.
Okay. So you saying that with men, sometimes it's when you fail and learn from that, you get back up and do it again, that you get better at it?
Yeah, every time. It's a lesson for everything we do, whether we, how they say, fail backwards or fail forward. There's always a lesson in every daily routine that we do, becoming a men and leaders and, and protectors. Because like I say, it's naturally built in us, but we all still need guidance and teaching,
Right. So what do you say to the men that are actually in the home and that are having a hard time with the women submitting to them, or with the women actually following the plan or supporting their vision or doing the things that, they feel like the woman and the children should be doing? What type of encouragement would you give to these men that are, like, I don't know what to do. I'm ready to give up. I'm ready to walk away. I don't, what would you say to them to, kind of help them continue to stand and lead and stand and do what it is that they're supposed to do, and that's keep the family together?
Well, of course, I don't condone families breaking up, but I've been in broken families before myself personally. But what you have to find out is if this woman is willing to be a follower, if she want to lead and trying to lead all the time and not be submissive or want to follow what's going on, then you have to find out if this is the right woman for you, because people can be what's considered unequally yoked. Just because we see somebody, we like them, because a lot of times we go by outer appearance, and once we get into a situation and we like them and what they call the honeymoon phase goes away, now we're in this relationship that we don't want to get out of or don't want to start over, so we continue to go down the same dead end road, because we don't want to start over, learn nobody else and all this stuff. And most of us think when we meet somebody anyway, that's our soulmate. So
right,
we stick with it until we get to a burnout or things go real bad. And the only thing I can encourage them is to find out, for the most of them, if they hadn't gotten into that situation, You have to ask the questions if this woman is really willing to follow or be led, because not all of them is willing to follow or be led. They may say it in the interview because they like you, but then when you find out otherwise, then hopefully you're not married to him or whatever, so you can move on. If you're already married to him, then of course you have to go try to find some counseling or work on the situation, because you got in that situation for a reason. So you have to figure out what the reason was, and try to work on it. Because like I say, I don't condone marriage divorce and things like that. So, you just have to work on it before you decide if that's, the best partner for you or what have you. So.
That is true. That is so true. So what if the women don't know how to follow the man properly and they're willing to stay with their husband, or the husband is willing to stay with the wife? And, of course, we know that it's not a lot of family units you see that's being broadcast on the internet or YouTube, Facebook, whatever. It's more singleness being broadcast than it is family units. So it's like people really don't have a solid image to look at, or even solid people to look at. Now, some you do, but the main thing that's pretty much put out there on TV is singleness and doing you. So what if a woman really doesn't know how to submit to her man, or what it is that he needs her to do, but she is willing to do it and she's willing to learn how to become that person that he needs her to be in order to be supportive for the whole family unit? How do they work through that, or how do they get to that place where they start learning and growing together in order to become a good, strong, powerful couple?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to understand that a woman could be submissive to a man she's never seen before, but the man that stands before her and sleep in the same bed with her, she disrespects.
I agree.
But I can give all of myself to Jesus Christ, and they ain't never met Jesus.
Right.
So
right.
To me, it's like you're being a hypocrite. It's like you don't want to try. And to me, I think that's wrong. But like I say, it's to each his own on how you want to deal with it. But that's my first and foremost is how can you submit to a man that you never seen, but the one that you proclaim that you love and you respect, that you disrespect every day, and pretty much let him know on a daily basis he's not a good leader, he's not a this, he's not a that. But man can approach a woman, but a woman still have to accept him.
That's true.
So if you knew who this man was and he was in that role in the first place, why would you get with him on purposely? Or how they say, as adults, we know right from wrong. We've been knowing that since we were in kindergarten, standing on the side of the wall and paying attention in class. So now all of a sudden we become adults, and all of a sudden we don't know how to follow instructions. We don't know how to be led, but we've been led since we've been in school.
That's right.
So to me, it's a bunch of hogwash. It's just a reason for you to act out and have your way, because most of us grown folks are still kids in our mind. So that's my answer on that.
Yes, because if you can listen to the police officer who gives you instructions not to run a red light, or if you do, you're going to get a ticket, why wouldn't you listen to the man that you're laying next to who's telling you, don't try that way, do it this way, because I know it's better overall for the whole family? So we'll submit to people we don't know and listen to people we don't know who don't have our best interests at heart, but the men or the man that is right there in your circle got your back, gonna hold you down. You'll disrespect what he's saying or act like he doesn't know what he's talking about and disregard what he's doing. So I totally agree with you on that. Well, I believe that in today's society, there's a lot of that going on, where it's a lot of disrespect going on towards men. And I believe there's a lot of women that really don't know how to respect a man or what respect really looks like to a man. Because women are more based on love and infatuation and care and compassion and nurturing and all that other stuff. But I've recently learned that love to a man is spelled out in respect. So what does respect look like what does respect look like from your point of view?
Well, I have to say this before I answer that question, is because it's not just women out there disrespecting men. There are men out there disrespecting women.
That's true.
And if you're disrespecting a woman, you shouldn't be a leader for her to follow in the first place, because she can't trust you. She don't believe in you. So therefore, Jesus is going to be her man, because you haven't shown her enough to be able to lead or to follow you. So the question you was asking me about the disrespect part.
Mm-hmm.
Most women, to me, I don't know if I'm answering the question properly, but they've just been programmed to be hard, and they don't want to get it up. So it makes it real easy, like I said, I still go back to, like I say, I don't know if I'm asking the question right or not, or the proper question, but a lot of women just want to play that role. They don't want the whole role. They just want the part that fits them, sort of like equality.
Mm-hmm.
When it speaks about equality, but the equality is based on what they feel, when they want it, it's okay for them to make the same kind of money, to get the same benefits, but at the same time, when somebody rudely knock on the door or meet you at the restaurant and want to be thrown off, they don't want to jump in front of the bullet. They don't want to sit here and fight. They act like they want to fight, but they hoping somebody step in front of them and take the bullet or what have you. So, but then they got sense enough, they want to disrespect the same man that they want to protect them. And
so what does respect look like to a man? What is that?
Respect look like to a man is knowing your place, knowing when to speak out, knowing when to be quiet, knowing how to run a household. It's good if both know how to run a household, but normally if a man is doing the leading, he's out and about. So she's going to be there more often than him. So she have to be able to run a household, and in that sense, that when the man come home, that he has peace. He's coming home for peace. You don't want the man to sit here and tell you all the time that he's working overtime again, or he don't even want to come home.
Right.
And you wondering, okay, well, if he ain't coming home, he's probably cheating. No, he's just trying to get away from you. So,
is that like that scripture where it says in the Bible that a man would rather be on the rooftop than inside the house with a brawling wife, a complaining and nagging wife? That he would rather not come home rather than come home and deal with your fussing, arguing, and nagging and complaining and accusations.
Don't want none of that,
Right, because he'd rather have peace.
A man is out there fighting hard enough out there in the world. Why would he want to come home and fight the one woman, that he's supposed to love and supposed to love him back,
Right, because you got to fight at your job with the different people and the different things that's going on out there.
Period. In the world, period. So why would I want to come home to the same thing? That's not peace. And I understand that it's not necessarily her responsibility to make his life peaceful, but he shouldn't have to come home to a war.
Yeah.
Every time he at home, he's in control of his peace. So that's why a lot of times men are opting out of relationships. I'm not trying to get in them because it doesn't bring him peace. So it doesn't benefit him in the long run.
And that's the true sole purpose of being in the home, is to have a home to be a place of peace and a safe haven that everybody wants to dwell in. Not just him, but a peaceful place where everybody can dwell and feel safe enough to open up and be who they are and embrace who they are and not have to have the aggravation or frustration of whatever is outside brought into the home. Because I've heard sometimes, well, I've heard before that sometimes we allow outsiders to influence us, and that can interrupt your peace. So could that be an area of disrespect towards a man if a woman is on the phone allowing family and friends to influence her to do things that doesn't go along with the purpose that her husband or her man has set in place?
Yes, that's definitely the major problem, because it's easier for the woman to listen to those that she feel that has her best interests at hand. When the man, especially if, they're not getting along, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go get all my information from this person. And a lot of times that other person is not even in a relationship or even in a healthy relationship, but that's who she's seeking out advice from, and getting all the wrong advice, and disregarding what they have built or what they have discussed and, created in the family. So, yes, that's definitely what you call disrespectful.
So would it be safe to say that sometimes it's best to keep outsiders out of your business and what's going on inside your home?
That's definitely the best way. That's the only way you should run your home, is to keep all the outsiders out of it. Now, if you happen to need counseling because things are not going right, then, y'all should talk together and agree on who y'all should see. But, he shouldn't go to his homies all the time talking about his business, and she shouldn't be going to her home girls and friends and cousins and stuff, and especially the ones that's having trouble keeping a man.
Amen. Amen. Yes, that is true. Because I've definitely experienced that with a lot of single people or a lot of people that are in relationships keeping single friends around, and their single friends are going to give them single advice. They're not going to try to teach them how to keep their relationship together or whatever. Sometimes it's like, girl, you don't have to put up with that. Or dude, man, I wouldn't even go home if, I was you, because, she tripping or whatever. It's like outsiders, once they get in, they give you their opinion of what they think you should be doing on what's best for your home, or what they think you should be doing on what's best for your relationship or your family, but they're not actually in the relationship with the person to give you the information that you need. And they don't know the person like you know them. They're not, like you said earlier, they're not laying next to this person to really understand them, to know them. So they're giving you their outside opinion of what they see from the outside looking in. But you may have just needed, or someone may have just needed someone to talk to, like you said, counseling, and they may have just went to a family member or whatever and talked to them, and now they put this family member in their business of what's going on with them and their man or them and their woman, and now this family member then gave them advice on something and or told them something that wasn't good, and now the family member is looking at them crazy because now they're back together, and you know what I'm saying? It don't look nothing like what they were complaining about maybe a month or two before. So it can be a very hard thing to bring other people into your relationship problems or your relationship difficulties or things that happen, because they're not actually in the home. So I totally agree with you on that. And that could be a major downfall. And I believe that that's a sign of disrespect when it comes to the man, because it's like you're bringing these other people into something that is not for them. And that kind of, from what I've heard someone say, it kind of makes the man separate away from the woman a little bit, like disconnect from her in some way. Because it's like some type of, I can't think of the word for it right now, but it's like some boundary was crossed that shouldn't have been crossed. And it allows too much to come into something that was supposed to be safe and sacred. So I totally agree with you on that. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with you and learn how it looks like for a man to be submissive, for a woman to be submissive, and for how we submit to God, and how to keep the peace in the home and how to keep the respect in the home. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. and my YouTube family. I hope y'all have learned something from this, and I hope it was so very helpful to you. So that way we can start bringing our families back together. And it's just with one nugget at a time that you learn how to be better in the home and win as a family unit, period. So I love y'all. Later.